Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to another episode of the Big Dawg Podcast. Today, I'm honored to have our guest, Addi Rowe. Addi has signed with Weatherford College today. Today is National Signing Day, and we're just so proud of her and just want to hear about her experience in the recruiting process and just get to this moment to where she gets to celebrate the hard work that she's put in. Just a little bit about Addi and what she's done in her career here at Carthage High School. She's a 3-time All-District performer in volleyball, 4-time academic All-District. She is 2024 Pontywood and East Texas All-Star. She's a 2024 First Team All-East Texas, 2024 Honorable Mention for a setter in the Texas Sports Writer Association. She's the 2024 Pigskin Bob Athlete of the Week, 2024 East Texas Varsity Best Preps nominee. She has 1,000+ career assists. In 2024 alone, she has 378 kills, 287 digs, 377 assists, 70 aces, and 61 blocks. I believe Weatherford College is getting an extreme athlete, student athlete, and we're so glad to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So if you look back and think about the recruiting process, what was the recruiting process like for you? Were there any unexpected challenges or surprises?
Really, it was really slow. It was kind of boring, honestly.
Okay.
It mainly started sophomore year, and I guess that's when I started putting clips together. I went on a visit to Texas Wesleyan, and it went well. Ended up with an offer from there, and then the coach ended up leaving, I think, a year or so later.
Okay.
And then between then and really this summer, it was really dry. I sent out emails, didn't get much back.
Okay.
I mean, I would every now and then. But really this summer, I was looking up JUCO colleges. I knew I wanted to start somewhere that I could build off of. And I sent out some emails, got a few back, and Weatherford ended up being one of them.
Awesome.
And really, I went to a camp with them, played with them, went on a little visit, and then they scheduled me for a visit a few months later, an official visit. And
Awesome.
next week I committed.
Well, I love that. I love hearing about the perseverance it took, especially when things got a little slow. You just continued to go, got back on it, and continue to reach out. And it's so neat to hear how everything came out and that you have a home now. So when did you first realize that playing at the collegiate level was a real possibility for you?
Probably sophomore year. I mean, maybe club of freshman year. I had some really good coaches, really pushed me. And then I was best friends with Micaiah Lewis, who went and played volleyball, and she always put it in my mind that I could do it. And really, I took advantage of that end of freshman year, sophomore year, when I really started to improve and get better.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it's good to know somebody was there pushing you, a teammate, and just somebody that inspired you and came before you. That's so neat to hear. Well, looking back on your high school career, I know I mentioned some of the stats here that you had, and what an incredible career you've had. From my understanding, you're a 4-year letterman in volleyball. What were some of the biggest lessons you learned that helped you get to this moment?
Honestly, injuries were a big thing for me. Sophomore year especially, I got hurt in the beginning of the season, and mentally it took a toll on me more than anything. I ended up struggling, and then a few months later I re-hurt it. And so really just having a strong mentality going into things, especially coming out of an injury, have been a huge lesson for me. Okay.
So what were some of the things that you had to just really learn as far as having a mentality, that comeback mentality, the mentality that you had to have when you were rehabbing? What were some of the things that you had to focus on to make that happen?
Mainly not wanting to come back in too soon, because that can just make things worse. I mean, I'd always push to come in as early as possible.
Right.
You can ask Coach Crowley. She got tired of me. But really just knowing that even if it takes a while to come back, it's going to be worth it in the end. And I'd rather be 100% going back into everything instead of just 75 and not helping my team out.
I got you. So speaking of that, I know obviously fighting through an injury, that's a big sacrifice, but what are some of the sacrifices you had to make to reach the level of becoming a collegiate athlete?
Really, a lot of my free time. Usually, if someone's asking to hang out, I can't. I have practice. I can't. I have a tournament, especially like this time of year. I'm big in the travel volleyball, so I'm usually in Dallas or sometimes out of state.
Right.
And like this year, I'm most likely missing prom, which I'm really sad about. But I just have to miss like a lot of school events, a lot of time with friends I miss because of that. But just a lot of my free time goes to volleyball right now and for the past few years.
Well, it all pay off in the end, and those friends that rocked with you the whole way, they'll still be there in the end and celebrating with you. And so that's really awesome to hear, the fact that you have been willing to make those sacrifices, and that hasn't really altered who you are and what you've become as a young lady. So was there a defining moment in your journey where you thought, and this is really happening?
Honestly, when I was on my visit sophomore year with Texas Wesleyan, it was my first visit, and I loved the coach there. I adored her. And then I practiced with the team, and I was like, okay, this is real. I'm actually on a visit to maybe go play college volleyball.
Okay. That's so cool. And I think it's neat that they allow volleyball athletes to practice with the team.
Mm-hmm.
I could imagine in football, that's the sport I played, just being able to go in and practice with collegiate players. Mm-hmm. So you know, on the Big Dawg Podcast, we talk about the dog mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure you had to have a dog mentality going in, practicing with collegiate athletes as a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me a little bit about that dog mentality that you had to have, and really the grit and the guts you had to have to take the court with those girls.
I mean, really, you just have to think, if they want me now, then obviously I'm good enough to play with them now. Yeah. And so it's really just a confidence thing that you have to have in yourself.
Yeah. And
knowing that if they think I'm good enough now and they know I'll be good then, I might as well give everything I've got right now.
Okay. All right. I like that. Now, that's the dog mentality. No doubt about it. So when you think about the times that you had, obviously when Makai was mentoring you, and then you obviously have the opportunity to mentor younger athletes now because you're the upperclassman, what advice would you give to younger athletes who dream of signing one day?
Really, what advice would I give? Believe in yourself more than they believe in you.
Absolutely. That self-belief and drive is, you know, and by the same token, somebody can want it more than you,
mm-hmm.
but that can't happen in this case. You've got to be the one to want it. Going back to that dog mentality.
There
you go. So what goals have you set for yourself as a student athlete, as a collegiate athlete? What goals do you have for yourself?
Really, I just want to keep my GPA high as a student athlete. I want to hold my 3.7, 3.8, hopefully higher. Okay. And really, I do want to start when I get there. So I'm going to push as much as I can to start, get as much playing time as I can. Really, I just want to push myself and go somewhere after Weatherford too.
Okay. So. Now, have they shared with you what position you're set to play at the collegiate level, or are you going to play multiple positions?
So I did get recruited as just a setter.
Okay.
So I'm only going to be setting. I'm going to leave the hitting in my high school days, save my shoulder, and only set. So I'm excited.
Okay. Awesome. Well, you got to be a pretty decent athlete to set and get those assists. And from what I remember, you had nearly 400 assists this year. And so obviously that's a skill set and a strength that you have. So that's really cool to hear. If you could describe your playing style in 3 words, what would they be?
I play pretty confident usually. I like to stare down a lot.
Okay.
It's a little, yeah. And then I usually have a lot of energy. So I guess.
Now, wait a minute. You said stare down?
Stare down.
Okay.
It happens sometimes. It's kind of funny, actually, because I'll like look back on film and I'm like, oh, why'd I do that? But in the moment, I'm so confident in the moment that like, if I get like a really good stuff block, I'm like, you're not getting past me.
Right.
So I guess just really confident, and then like excitement. I play with a lot of energy.
That's good.
And then I try to play smart. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I do try to play smart.
Right. And I've witnessed that this year, just going to y'all's games and being able to see you in action. You had a knack for finding places on the court where they weren't, and finding those holes in their defense. And I witnessing that firsthand, that was pretty neat to watch and to see. How do you figure that stuff out? Is this something that you do on the run? Is it something that you find out in film study? How are you able to have a knack for finding those holes?
So there's two different, well, I guess there's technically three different defenses you can run in volleyball. So they're all pretty generic on where the player is going to be.
Okay.
And then just watching that in film, seeing which defense they run,
Okay.
and then knowing like if someone's right-handed, it's usually going to be harder for them to move to the left.
Mm-hmm.
So just using those ideas to know where to put the ball.
I like it. You know, I never thought about that strategy, you know, thinking about how somebody moves if they're right-handed or left-handed, and being able to focus and have that amount of focus in the moment. That's really cool. So what are some of the people, obviously there was a support system for you and the reason that you get to be on this stage today, but who are the people that have helped you the most on this journey? And is there anyone special you would like to thank?
My parents, I mean, they've always taken me to club volleyball. They've always taken me to the school. My mom used to sit at the school for like an hour after practice freshman year because I couldn't drive and I wouldn't let her know I was staying after. She'd be so mad at me. But just my parents, they've always been there for me. They've always supported me, always taken me to everything. They've helped me like with the recruiting process. My mom used to be on my tail about, you need to make videos, you need to send them out.
Right.
And yeah, so them, and then Micaiah. I mean, she was my mentor and she's helped get me through everything. So.
Well, that's so cool. And I'm so proud of you. I just want you to know, from me to you, you've been an incredible student. And if I had to draw up a student athlete, it would be you. Just your grace in the building, your mentality in the classroom, on the court, of course, you're a beast. But you've also been just as big a beast in the classroom as far as your demeanor and your work ethic. And I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you. And congratulations on being a Weatherford Coyote.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. That's it. That's our episode of the Big Dawg Podcast. We'll see you next week, and look forward to seeing another superstar like Addi. Thank you for joining us on the first episode of the Big Dawg Podcast. Be sure to check back soon. Say it with me. Go Dawg.